Artist and an educator, socially conscious, also a videographer for Block Report, and a member of Hairdoo. Adimu, everyone. Let him hear it, let him hear it.
How y'all doing? I say, how y'all doing? Make some joyful noise for Mumia Abu Jamal. It's such an honor for me to be here tonight and salute Mumia Abu Jamal, a true warrior. Mumia is a righteous warrior, and that's what I love so much about Mumia. It's an ancient Kemetic principle that says right over might, meaning righteousness will always win out over the might. And that's what Mumia means to me, a righteous brother that's fighting that battle in a righteous way. I remember hearing so much about Mumia and reading so much about him. And I had been in Africa for a while, and when I came back, I came through Oakland, and I was tuned in to Minister Information JR's radio program. And I remember hearing this brother spit some of that righteous warrior poetry, that hunter poetry. And I remember thinking, I was in the car, I was like, man, who is this brother? And then at the end it came, live from Death Row. This is Mumia Abu Jamal. I mean, I felt it all up on my arms and in my back. I said, that's Mumia? Man, that's what I'm talking about. And it just fired me up so much because I knew the fight that he was fighting was a righteous one. And the way he was fighting, it was a righteous one. I just read a sister's shirt back there that said, they don't just want to take my body, they want to silence me. Because Mumia knows that when his body is gone, his struggle will still live on. So the part of the book that I'm going to read was a part that just captivated me so much. And it was Mumia discussing the trial of John and Mo Africa, two other brothers that I have so much love for the righteousness that they were using when they was fighting their battles. So I'm going to take you back to 1981, June. And John Africa and Mo Africa are on trial. This is Mumia speaking right now. The basic issues of bombs, guilt, and innocence were addressed, and in ways that have perhaps never been done before. John didn't so much dispute the charges as dismiss them. This is John. People ain't gonna condemn the MOVE organization as a bunch of kill-crazed, bloodthirsty murderers when it is the government spilling blood, killing life out of greed. But the government is attempting to indict me for spilling blood, burning flesh, killing life by saying I was making bombs. Now, I ain't gonna spend a lot of energy talking about this bomb-making frame-up. See, my innocence is proven with every innocence of energy you breathe, every drop of innocence you drink, every morsel of innocence you eat. The very message you are hearing is me. My righteousness is represented all through this information. Now, I don't need no bombs. But if you want to call life a bomb, I'm for the biggest bomb existing. It's already made, and the MOVE organization is constantly dropping it, bombarding the system with truth. As far as those scientific bombs the FBI is charging me with making, well, I ain't gonna make no bomb. Bombs backfire on the people that create them and all those that believe in them, because bombs are explosive, destructive, corruptive. But wisdom is informing. And when you put what is right to a person, you ain't in danger of getting wrong back. See, that is the difference between what I use as my defense, my bomb, and what the government uses as their so-called defense, their bombs. Somebody say, long live John Africa. Get into this. This is further on in the trial. The MOVE organization lives by the principle of life, the origin, the source. My mama, or the person you heard referred to as Mother Nature, that's my mama. That's your mama too. Because I'm fighting for air that you got to breathe. Yeah, you do. And if it gets too polluted, you're not going to breathe that air. And I'm fighting for water that you got to clean. And if it gets any worse, you're not going to be drinking that water. See, I'm fighting for food that you got to eat. And you know you got to eat it. And if it gets any worse, you're not going to be eating that food. Somebody say, long live John Africa. Long live After all this, the jury sat for almost 2 weeks with boxes of rifles, plastic milk bottles labeled TNT, and other exotic explosives under their noses. This was, after all, a trial of move, which the corporate media strove mightily to liken to a coven from hell. The verdict seemed an all but foregone conclusion. The jury was out 5 days deliberating over 30 hours on what seemed an open and shut case. When they trudged back into the courtroom, none looked in the direction of the accused, usually a bad sign. The jury foreman, Dorothy Kelly, rose to speak on the jury's behalf and announced, "Not guilty, not 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 guilty." 8 times for the 4 charges each man was facing. The Africans turned to each other and gave palm slaps. The judge thanked the jurors for their duty and ordered the 2 men released. The courtroom resounded with shouts of, "Long live John Africa!" As MOVE members and supporters surrounded the men, the prosecutors looked stunned, as if in disbelief. Moments later, the assistant U.S. attorney, Elmar Durant, told a reporter, "It would be nice if I could say I thought we did this wrong or that wrong. Then at least I would have some rationale reason." His co-prosecutor, William Carr, added, "You hear prosecutors griping about this ruling or that ruling, but in this case, there were no rulings." Mo Africa then read a statement given to him several weeks before the trial began by John Africa, explaining, "The reason it took a long time, the trial didn't go the way it usually goes. See, we represented ourselves. We wouldn't take advice of co-counsel. And when the evidence was brought back, there really wasn't no evidence, and it wasn't clear. For MOVE members, the trial was known as John Africa versus the system. When John Africa exited the federal court building holding a cardboard box filled with cantaloupes, eggs, potatoes, and a pineapple, he declared to a group of supporters, "I whipped him." John Africa had won by representing himself. Long live John Africa! Free Mumia Abu Jamal! Blessings to do, y'all. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here.
Adimu, folks.